press the button for go.
Are you
Good.
recording?
Okay, Friday. It was Friday we did a bit on collateral and balloon pressure points. On collaterals, I left something out. Okay, didn't really take a second to recap that. Collateral pressure points are also have a yin and yang pair. Right? If you're Kyusho for a while, you get the joy of learning the diurnal cycle. Every organ in your body is tied to a clock, it's tied to the clock. So as an example, from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., that is the time of day in which your lung reboots. Right? Everything starts just like a computer. The meridian at 4 goes to the high point, it crashes, and then the organ starts over again in a fresh cycle. And every organ in your body does that. Right? That's why if you look at the way most really good hospitals in the West will do heart surgery, they will not do heart surgery anymore between 11 a.m. and 12 p.m. because that's the recycle time for the heart. People tend to die when they do it now, so they do it at different times. Right? Because the really smart Western doctors also are smart enough to realize that the Eastern medicine knows a whole lot more than they've ever believed that they did, and you'll start to see that integration. But the idea of a collateral pressure point, having a yin-yang pair goes back to the diurnal cycle. And as soon as I can get myself on the right page here, we're going to go. Because it's just not possible for me to memorize all this stuff. And I've memorized so much stuff that it's ridiculous. Just gets to be terribly complicated, and I prefer not to be wrong when I'm doing it. Here we go. So the points that we were dealing with the other night was lung 7, which is right about here on the wrist, connects to the large intestine meridian underneath, right? And that's a yin-yang pair, because large intestine is yang, lung is yin. And one of the misconceptions about the yin-yang symbol is, you notice you've got it on your crest. That's the correct way that symbol has to be represented. It can't be sideways, it can't be different colors than it is. You'll see a lot of artwork that does it differently. That is actually energetically correct, exactly the way it is. And it's a whole. It's not opposites, it's a whole. So that's why the yin-yang pair idea gets to be important. That's why when we were hitting you the other night, that's why you feel it as much as you did, is because it's a complete energy. Now I'll show you something really cool here.
Luca?
Yeah, do you mind a little tiny bit of pain?
Yeah.
Nothing much, nothing astronomical, but just so you can see the difference. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, come on up here. Can you hold that for a second? Right? If I put Luke into a finger lock, give me your fingers, right? Okay? Feel a certain amount of pain, right? Just relax. The more you relax, less it hurts. Right? Feel a certain amount of pain. Now, can you come behind me, please? Yes. Okay. As I do this, don't bend your fingers. Relax. Okay, I'll do this one. Okay? Touch my back. Anywhere. Notice it's worse. Right? Male energy, female energy. It comes together. Right? Makes it more painful because I'm only half of the cycle. She completes the cycle. And it's interesting because from an emotional standpoint, if you get somebody in here who's really, really girly, you know, like it's always a pink dress, it's always flowers, that type of thing, the pain is even worse, especially when you're married to a jerk like I am, right? So I'm very young, and if you get somebody who's very yin, it hurts even more, right? But that's the power in the pairs. And that gives you the ability to hit almost anything you want after, like we were picking specific targets because I'm thinking of another system with it, right? Whereas if I do something to her, if I put her in a finger lock, if Luca comes and touches my back, it doesn't mean anything. Because it's both yang pair. It's yang pair, so it's opposites. You understand? Like it's some cool stuff. Anyways, that's it for the collateral that I forgot to talk about. Thank you so much. Next, we are going to just brush on two others that are truly a headache. And like I say, if you don't have, you need a reference to do this stuff. There's no other way to do it. First one is influential pressure points. And there are 4 of these, and they are interesting because the first one is liver 13. Liver 13 is right about here on the body. It's toward the bottom, the free end of one of the rib numbers. Can't remember at the moment which one it is. Right on the anatomy, because you got gallbladder 24 and you've got liver 13. Striking liver 13, which is also an alarm point, but that's beside the point. Striking liver 13 will affect all of the, if memory serves me correctly here, 1 second. Yes, will affect all of the yin meridians in the body. So if I strike you at liver 13, all of your yin meridians are active, and so are all the organs. So I affect your heart, I affect your lungs, I affect your spleen, I affect your kidneys, and I affect your liver. All with one strike there. I can influence all of them. Okay? And then conception 12, which is halfway between the sternum and the navel, right about there. If I strike that, I mess up all the yang organs and meridians in your body. One strike. Conception 17, which is at the xiphoid process. Conception 17 messes up the ki or chi side of your body. Like your body is divided this way. This side is the blood side, this side is the chi side. Or ki side in this particular case, because they use the word ki more than chi in acupuncture. In this type of acupuncture. Right? So any strike I make to the left side of the body would be enhanced because of that strike. And then the other one is bladder 17, which is at thoracic 5, I believe it is.
Right here?
A little tiny bit lower. Yeah, right about there. Right? And that one affects the blood side of the body, which is this side of the body. Okay? And tremendously handy, but not an easy application for them. We're not actually even going to do an application on them. We will on the next one, which is underlying indicator points. This is the last of the bizarre 4, as they were. Now, all of this is completely reversed acupuncture that my teacher did, because he's a doctor of acupuncture. And I don't like that term either. I prefer the old term, which is a master of acupuncture, because the term, you've got acupuncturists in the world. Like, to operate as an acupuncturist in North America, you have to have a doctorate in it, right? In Hong Kong, as an example, it's similar, but it's not referred to as a doctorate. But there are minimum requirements to be an acupuncturist, and this goes really deep, because there are guys that do acupuncture, they do things that are just incredible, and not the average person does it. It's like being a master herbologist, right? That type of thing. Now, each meridian on the body has 5 special points on it that change the effect of the element that the meridian represents. So your lung meridian, which is going from goes from below the clavicle up here, down the inside of the arm, and it terminates right about there. That is a metal meridian. Right? It's predominantly metal. And that's predominantly my phone going off. And there are 5 pressure points that will change that element to a different one. And that's the one we'll play with briefly. Here we go, come on. So, lung 8, which is when it's right in the indentation on your wrist for the pulse to be taken, is where lung 8 is. I'm dead on, I can feel my pulse. I know live. When that is pressed on, that turns the lung meridian a little bit more to the metal side than it was before. It enhances the metal. But if I go to lung 5, which is up here, that adds water to the meridian. Okay? And then lung 11, it changes to wood, lung 10 to fire, and lung 9 to earth. And each meridian has 5 pressure points that changes its relative elemental state. So if you're trying to do something to somebody by activating one of these points, or all of these points, you can make the next strike have a bigger effect on them. And we'll play with that just a little bit. That'll be it for the video part. Thank you very much.